You're listening to the WCEN podcast. Hello, everybody. I hope you're well wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Peaks, and you're listening to the WCEN podcast. Now, the reason for this podcast show, which is the very first one we're kicking off today, is to keep the community and multi-faith networks informed on services, how to access them, and to keep their spirits uplifted. Especially during this time, obviously everybody's gone through a lot at the moment. But this is a platform to share and express the needs and express what's happening in the communities and the different things that's going on and how people are coping with the current situations at hand. We'll be speaking to faith leaders, key community members, members of the healthcare profession, and much more. So you should get all your questions and information, tips and advice from all these people who have really great things to share. And on today's podcast show, I'm going to be joined by a caller called Geetha. Okay, so just a little bit of brief history. Geetha Maheshwaran is the chair of Wandsworth Community Empowerment Network, also known as WCEN. She coordinates the Shree Ghanapathy Temple in Wimbledon. She's been involved in the work with WCEN for over a decade, helping to pioneer new ways of working in co-production, early intervention and prevention. Geetha is a well-known and respected religious broadcaster actively involved in multi-faith and community organisation. The temple is at the centre of the religious life of her community, serving not just its own members but also people of all faiths and people of none. Her professional career in education ensures that teaching is a major part of her role, as is her passion for looking after the spiritual, emotional and physical well-being of the community. So I'd love to welcome Geetha Maheshwaran to the show. So let's get her on the line. Are you there, Geetha?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. I hope I pronounced your second name right, Geetha Maheshwaran. Was that correct?
It's near enough, Maheshwaran.
All right, lovely. So sorry about that. It's always better with somebody else. I had those kind of problems when I was younger.
No problem.
It's a beautiful name. Where's it from?
It's from it's a Sri Lankan name. So it's both Geetha means divine song.
Oh wow!
And Maheshwaran is one of the forms of Lord Shiva. So yeah, I didn't have much choice in the what career path or spiritual bent that I'd be going through. So.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's a beautiful name and obviously a lovely meaning as well. So basically, just for everybody to know, this is the very first WCEN podcast, and just to get a bit of brief history about what WCEN is and who you are. So if you could give us a little brief history about you, who you are, and then about the work that you do with WCEN.
Right. So my name is Geetha Maheshwaran. I'm not going to divulge my age, but
no,
I'm regarded as one of the elders of our community. We got involved with WCN about a decade ago when we were asked to join as one of the places of worship within the Wandsworth. And although we're in Merton, we sort of skip over to Wandsworth when we need to. And it's been an incredible journey. We've been part of the group and have shared with other organizations and places of worship, and it's really it's what it says on the title. It's an empowerment network, so it helped us at our times of need, and it's been able to be a great networking a place of networking for us to link with other places of worship and with other organizations as well.
Excellent. I mean, so where is it that you are based yourself?
Sorry?
And obviously, where is it that you're based with WCEN or with your temple?
Well, the temple is in Wimbledon, in Effra Road. We've been there for nearly 40 years now. So that's my base, my spiritual base, and where I do a lot of the work that I do within the community.
And WCEN, obviously, I think the name is in there,
It's
isn't
it?
Yes. All right, cool. So, I mean, yes, so we're launching this series to, if obviously you can tell us about why we want to launch this podcast show.
Yes, I mean, with the period of isolation that we're all having to do at the moment for the good of the country and to help the NHS, WCN has done a lot of work. We're involved in supporting and enabling communities to use their resources and to partner with public agencies like the NHS, like Wandsworth, co-producing a lot of things to help bring the sort of the health aspect into our local communities at a grassroots level. So an example we had in January and February, we launched community-led health clinics. And we were going to places of worship. We were helping to sort of do basic testing for the devotees in the congregations, and helping them to sort of raise their levels of physical wellness and mental well-being. And this was all stopped. It all had to grind to a halt. We were just at that point. We'd done the first set of clinics. We'd got this great group of health coaches together who were working from all different places of worship, different religions, and also people of no faith as well. And we were getting to that point of really, really succeeding. And then we had to stop everything because of the lockdown, understandably so.
Of course.
So what we wanted to do is to carry on some of that community work, that community energy that had been provided with that work. We've, for the last 10 years, we've been working with South West London and St George's Mental Health Care Trust on, and with Talk Wandsworth on sort of getting counselling into places of worship. We were in the middle of doing training for our volunteers to do systemic family therapy. So all of that, finished, but we just wanted to carry that through. So although these things they've not been cancelled, they've been just postponed for the moment until we defeat COVID. But we wanted to continue to support and highlight the work that is going on throughout our communities. To tell stories of community strength and resilience. We're all very good with our skills that we have learned in our sort of day jobs and everything else, but there's a lot of skill within our churches, our gurdwaras, the mosques, synagogues, temples, and we can make a difference to our local communities as well as our congregations. So during this time of difficulty, this worry and uncertainty that everybody's feeling, we felt it was really important that we share the stories of good practice, of amazing things that are happening, inspiring things, because as communities, we're not helpless. There is resilience, there is resourcefulness, and we wanted to celebrate this. So the idea of these podcasts was to share some good news for a change, to inspire our communities, and to share this with other people as well.
Excellent. Very well said. I mean, obviously, we're like 3 weeks into this now, almost 3 weeks going into the third week now. I mean, what's the general sense within your community going into this? I mean, obviously, there's a lot that's been happening and stuff. So what's the kind of general sense within your community and your networks? How are people dealing with it, and how you guys, who are the community workers, how are you dealing with it?
Well, we're trying what we can to sort of keep our communities together. So, if I look at my temple,
Disregarding the lockdown, of course, yeah.
Yes. For them, I mean, we've got there have been devotees who've been coming almost daily for nearly 40 years to our temple. We started in 1981.
Wow.
And so, our aim has always been to serve the community, providing a place of solace and prayer. And we continued with that promise for nearly 40 years. We've diversified into, health and well-being and classes for children. Lots and lots of things. It was a really, really active hub for the community. And, we carried through with the prayer, always open 7 days a week. So when the government told us to stay at home to minimise the spread of COVID-19, we had to make that heartbreaking decision to close the temple to the public and to lock those front doors, the first time in 40 years. And it was just a terrible day for us in that sense, because we knew that there would be so many people who depend on the temple to gain that spiritual comfort. But we had prepared and planned for this eventuality. It wasn't just a sudden decision by the government. They let us into it gently in that sense. So since the beginning of February, a lot of our time was spent educating the devotees about proper hand washing, about the way we should be now at this point of COVID. We implemented the government directives as they came out, ensuring social distancing and conducting extensive risk assessments to keep the devotees and the priests safe during those first few months. So when we had the directive to close the temple, we launched a Ghanapathy Temple YouTube channel, which broadcasts the daily pujas. Now, these pujas still go on behind locked doors because they're essential for the continued sanctification of the temple. So we launched it so that they could be live streamed through. And it's been a real, feedback from the devotees. It's been such a comfort for them. There have even people tuning in from hospital beds, because it gives them that comfort. So we've been getting sort of Facebook messages. It streams through the YouTube channel and our Facebook page, and it just brings that comfort, and that keeps that content, that connection with the temple going, and with the deities there. So we also asked. We thought, what else can we do? So we asked devotees to send in their names if they needed special prayers done for them. So every Friday we allocate special prayers to all the NHS staff, and on Sundays for all other essential key workers. They're putting their lives on the line for us, and I think this is at least a small token of our appreciation. If we can pray for them, if that's the only thing we can do, if we can pray for them, I think that's an important thing during this time of distress and during these difficult times. And we've also we do funeral services. We have 2 priests who are responsible for funeral services, and during this time, we may not be able to send the priests out to do the Hindu funeral ceremonies, but we've been looking at other ways that we can do so. And that's what we're concentrating on at the moment, because it is a time of such distress, especially for people, families who lose somebody, not just for COVID, but for other reasons as well. And so we're just trying to find a way that we can help them. Even if we can't send the priest, we can do other things to help them to that process. And then also looking at the funeral practices to see how some of them can be postponed till after COVID has gone or has been managed, and then we can sort of carry on with those services afterwards. So the idea is that we use the best of modern technology to still retain the traditions and the spiritual practices of the temple to keep the people connected with us.
I think so that's amazing what that you've managed to do in such a short space of time. So well done for that. And obviously the community still feel that they're very much a part of it, as you said, with your live stream and being able to send the names in, because it's obviously so important for them to have that kind of be in touch and still feel like you're there and stuff. So that's really well done to you guys for that.
WhatsApp can be a very good tool in that as well. So
Yeah, I've heard people are just using it there and discovering all these new apps. It's amazing.
Exactly.
So in terms of WCEN, and obviously
Yep.
you've mentioned what you're doing as well with the temple, what support is actually available, and how do people access these resources that you have?
Well, the great thing is that WCEN has become part of the coordination group that's being led by Wandsworth Council. And it's a way of linking in all those charities and the organisations that are still the statutory bodies and the organisations that were there beforehand to help the elderly and the most vulnerable in our community. There is so much uncertainty, and with the benefits and everything else as well. So we feel our role is part of just aiding what has already been there, and to be a conduit for that, to be a resource, a way that communities who we've built up a level of trust with throughout the many years that we've been here, they know that they can come to us and we can direct them in the right place. So not just about signposting, but about developing the relationships that we've had with all these communities over decades, and it's just a way of helping us to direct them into to get the right source of information. There's so much misinformation, sadly, as well as good people doing good things as well. So our thing would be to get them to the right people who can help them at their time of need, and we want to provide this and broadcast the information on where people can get help and support, and to enable them and empower them to do so.
Excellent. So when the show ends, you can give us some of those contact details, websites, and a kind of emails, and we'll drop them in the information below as well. So don't
That's
worry.
great. Our first point of contact is the community hub that the council has established on, I think we can Google this, it's on www.wandsworth.gov.uk /coronavirus, which seems to be the ending for most of our Googling at the moment.
Yes.
But any group can contact us and we can make sure that they have the information that they need.
Excellent. Is there any particular needs that have kind of occurred? Is there something that's maybe like, oh, most people seem to be coming to us for this or for that? Is there any type of thing that people in particular really need at this time?
I think we each of our places of worship. I mean, having spoken to friends from other places of worship who we've met through WCN, we're all sharing best practice, because I think the streaming has been a real godsend for many of our places of worship, and we're just trying to support each other and get that up and running for as many different organisations as we can. But what we were very keen at our temple, we were very keen not to try and reinvent the wheel. So we have encouraged our devotees, and we have an amazing group of volunteers. And so the main thing we got them to do was to join their local volunteer groups, to join the voluntary services, to register as NHS volunteers. So those things they have the safeguarding, they have the good governance. Everything is there in that place. So I have my app on, and I'm waiting for Good Sam to send me the siren to say that I'm needed for shopping or whatever else needs to be done in the area. And we've really encouraged our volunteers to do that, because they have so much. There are so many people who want to do good. They just need sort of the scaffolding and the guidance and support in order to be safe at this time of COVID. And the whole idea, I mean, I've joined my local mutual aid group here, and I've met some incredible people. We've never actually met physically. It was all been
It's all
done through
virtually so
WhatsApp.
far.
Absolutely. I've told them that we're going to throw a huge street party at the end of this when we defeated COVID. And we're all going to meet and we're all going to hug together after that. So only ones that's safe to do so. Anyway.
Exactly.
But it's amazing. I mean, one good thing about this is that it has brought up this resurgence of community spirit, which is long gone in London before. The one positive thing about this is that it's linking up people, good people who want to help the people who are most vulnerable in our community. And I think it's been an incredible journey that we've done through that. And WCN is at the forefront of that in Wandsworth.
Excellent. I mean, in terms of voluntary work, is there any criteria or ages, or like what would be the kind of what was the kind of criteria to become a volunteer? And is it?
And anybody can do it. Children can do their rainbows for the windows and help and spread cheer in that way. We've done putting little teddy bears in our windows to let them do a bear hunt down the road when they do their 1 day of exercise every day. We've got elderly people who are actually self-isolating because of medical reasons. They're actually formed telephone support groups. So they're actually ringing other people on the other side of the borough, just a daily ring, a call, and just feeding back if there's any issues and things that need to be done. The group in Merton was started by an 18-year-old boy who felt that he didn't want anybody to suffer during this time, and to make sure that the elderly in the area were looked after. And he's grown. It's grown from just a few people to 2,000, 3,000 volunteers in sort of as many weeks. So it's just been wonderful. So anybody can do what they can. We've encouraged our volunteers to donate to food banks, and so there's lots of things being brought up. We're not starting our own. We know that there are proper organisations that have been doing this work for years and years beforehand. But what we've done in our roads and our streets is that we've just encouraged our neighbours through WhatsApp groups to just, if they have any extra food or non-perishables, just to donate. And we've been organising pickups, going to the proper food banks in the area, because they are being so overwhelmed by the number of people who need them. Local football associations, rugby organisations are sort of harnessing all their big strong lads to sort of deliver food, to the elderly and vulnerable. It's just a wonderful thing. So I think I just urge people to join the NHS volunteers, join your local volunteer group, and do what you can. You have to stay safe, but you can do things. Even phoning is one of the most valuable things that can be done. WhatsApping your loved ones and those in the street who are vulnerable. Just keeping an eye on each other, being good neighbours to each other. I think that's just the one thing to do.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. I mean, and in closing, kind of last question here, or not even question, but is there something that you can leave everybody with on a positive note, or anything else that you can share?
I think we just need to support NHS staff and our essential workers. We pray for them if we believe in that. Send good thoughts, help and support them whichever way we can. Support them mainly by staying at home and following the directives that are being told to ensure that they can do the job that they need to do. And also just a message to everybody that this too shall pass. COVID is here for this length of time, but it will be defeated, as have many other pandemics in the past. So we just need to keep strong and look after each other and just stay positive. And hopefully this podcast will help with that.
Definitely. Thank you so much, and for the work that you guys are doing. Continue on with it and keep us posted with the show.
Thank you very much, Felix.
Okay, thank you. Have a good
Take
evening.
care.
Thanks, Geetha.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so that was Geetha. So there was so much in there. She's given us the information. If you're looking for anything or ways to get involved, then we'll have everything written down for you guys below. If you have any feedback, tips, experiences, then please leave your comments, or you can email WCEN on info@wcen.org.uk. They also have a website which you can go and check out for the latest information too, which is www.wcen.co.uk. For the most up-to-date government and healthcare guidelines, please visit www.gov.uk. You can also go to www.wandsworth.gov.uk. So thank you so much for Geetha. They're doing amazing work there. And of course, everybody, I hope you've taken on board what's been said. If you want to find out more, then you can go and check out their website. But please keep yourself safe and keep yourself positive and uplifted. You're listening to the WCEN podcast.